So I asked her, and I didn't know what gold looks like because in 1972, it was illegal for Americans to own gold. And I thought that was really strange. So my education was on the fly, is what I'm trying to say. So I tried to negotiate this Vietnamese woman, the cute little thing, bright red teeth, because they chew betel nuts. And gold used to be 35 an ounce, and it was now floating around 50. So I thought maybe because I'm behind enemy lines, I have greenback, I have dollars, I was in a negotiating position. And she looked at me, and I don't think she went to Harvard or anything, but she just looked at me and she just laughed at my partner, not my co-pilot. And she goes, "Spot." I said, "What is spot?" And I was being educated. And what I found out a few days later, that spot means that's the price of gold all over the world. I mean, gold has a uniform price, which means it's real money. Then I realized that's God's money. If I get the atomic number and silver as an atomic number, the US dollar doesn't. So I became very, very suspicious of the US dollar. So our aircraft carrier group, I was a flying alpha carrier, and went to Hong Kong, and I went looking for gold. I didn't know what it looked like. And finally I found a South African Krugerrand, and I bought it, and then I found out I had to smuggle it into the US like a criminal. Because it was illegal since 1933, I believe, to own gold. And I thought, this is really strange. Really strange. So I come back from the war, and thank God around 1974 or 75, I think it was Gerald Ford made gold legal for Americans to own. And I thought, God, this is really quite fascinating. And then I started looking at the dollar, then inflation hit and all this. I remember going, I think in the 70s and 80s now, I'd go into the restaurants and they would actually have to change the restaurant price every day. So let's say I go to my favorite Chinese restaurant, chow mein, the day before it was $1. Today it was now $1.50. And this whole, real life events got me to become a gold and silver bug. So ever since then, I don't save US dollars. People say save money. I refuse to. I save gold and silver, which are God's money. God's money has been here since the earth was formed. So I'm very happy to bring to the show today E.B. Tucker. He's written a fantastic book. It's called Why Gold, Why Now? And the reason I say it's a fantastic book is what the book does. It summarizes gold, why it is God's money, why it's more important today than ever before, especially with silver, gold, and now Bitcoin. And so I also started a gold mine in China. They took that. And I started a silver mine in South America. I still have that one. So I've been a gold and silver nut for a long time. So when I read Why Money, Why Gold, Why Now, I said, this is the perfect book for somebody who really wants to find out how you're being screwed. What's real and what's fake. And the US dollar is as fake as it comes. And the you idiots out there saving US dollars or pesos or yen or euro, get E.B. Tucker's book, Why Gold, Why Now? Because you're getting screwed. Like when people argue about gold, silver, Bitcoin, I just quote, Yogi Berra. When you come to the fork in the road, take all three. I have all three. And right now I'm high on silver because it's the most suppressed. It's 50% below its all-time high yet. That's how they've manipulated the market. And what I liked about your book, you explain how it's manipulated. Differences between silver and gold, silver, and Bitcoin. And then you can make a more logical decision. And then, I caught hell the other day, said, how can you buy Bitcoin at $50,000? I said, I didn't buy it at $50,000. And this is my point to everybody right now, is that silver and gold, the prices are held down now.
Right.
And if you're watching Bitcoin, but the real action is going to take place, and I could be wrong, but I think it's silver, then gold. Yeah, and so there's differences between silver, gold, and Bitcoin, and they're all significant differences. And if I told you today you could buy Bitcoin at $5, would you say I'll think about it? But that's what we're saying is happening with silver and gold right now because it's manipulated. Anything you want to say about
all you have to do is buy an ounce of gold. You'll see. When you call the dealer, they say, "I'm sorry, it'll be the summertime before you can get it. It'll be $2,000." That tells you all you need to know. So it's kind of like you go to get a Mercedes and it should be 100,000 and it's 70. Are you upset? No, you're thrilled. But for some reason, when you see gold in that condition, you say, I don't know if I trust that. People get discouraged when they see low prices in gold. But it should be the opposite. When you see an asset, you understand and you've read my book and you know how this works, you should be thrilled to see the gold price held down. And that's the government finally doing something for you that's helpful. So that's how people should look at it once they can see the full picture.
But it's even worse than that is because I took a friend of mine down to Argentina because this guy is, highly educated, very successful and all this, but he is old school. And I took him to Argentina to meet my friend who is an engineer, electrical engineer in Argentina. He had a electrical engineering firm. He said he saved US dollars. He had $1 million US in the bank in Argentina. And then one day the bank told him, they said that we took your money. And they said, oh, don't worry, we'll give you $1 million in Argentine peso or whatever they trade in.
Yep, peso, that's right.
And so I took and he said, do you have any advice? He says, if I had plata or oro, which is gold or silver, and I had it outside the country, I would be okay. But because I had everything inside the banking system of Argentina, and worst of all in US dollars, and they exchange it for pesos, I'm trapped. I can't get out of this country because the economy collapsed. So I looked at my friend, he goes, God, this is good. I'm glad you saw this, That was 5 years ago.
Yep. No, I was there with Christina was running the country.
Oh, she's
and I was there, and this adds to what you're saying is that when I used a credit card to pay for the hotel, it was an 8-to-1 exchange rate. But my friend showed me a little store around the corner where it was 12-to-1. But then my other friend had a guy that would bring the pesos on a moped at 16-to-1. So you had the blue market and the black market. And so you had to break the law to get the proper exchange rate. Then it went up to something like 80-to-1 after she left and they got rid of that. But what people don't understand is that the government's in charge of these things.